Here's a recent trip in January of 2014 into the Malibu State Park to visit the old MASH TV series filming site. The visit is twofold. Once, to see what has changed at the site, and secondly, as a remembrance to my longtime hiking partner Dayle, who unfortunately passed away from cancer recently. Well, here's the parking area, the restroom, and here's where we go down to the trailhead. Been here a number of times before. It's a very nice trek. Well, here we are, getting started. It says the MASH site is 2.3 miles. Reagan Ranch 2.6. We've been there before too. Well, there is a little water in the creek, despite the drought we're talking about. Matter of fact, quite a bit of water. And the road getting us on towards the start of our trip. And then a short ways in, the pavement ends, and we turn into a dirt road, which will take us about 7/10 of a mile to get to the visitor center, which is only open on weekends. Here's another weather-worn sign telling us where we're going, and this is known as Craig's Road. So we'll keep on going towards the visitor center. And here we run across a nice shaded area with some picnic benches. And then looking back over here, we can get a look at some of these kind of beautiful, quite beautiful Santa Monica Mountains. Yeah, this would be a pretty nice place to have a picnic lunch, shaded by these beautiful old oak trees. And then some more of Craig Road's beautiful tree-lined road, and from here we can look over and see the visitor center over there. An old ranch house, actually, when this was all privately owned. Well, here's an interesting looking tree. It's knocked down on its side. It's still a pretty good sized one, and all the branches are coming off it, the trunk on its side, and going on up into the sky. Quite different. And then we reach an intersection where the road branches off and goes on over to the visitor center, which, being a Friday, it's closed, so we're not going to bother today. But they're going to continue on Craig's Road, which heads towards the MASH site. Mile and a half to go. And from this intersection point, the road starts climbing, going up the side hill towards a little draw in the mountains. Well, there are some that are a lot more energetic than I am. This road continues on up, and part way up we can look down and see the area from where we have come. Pretty country. And another place is a little turnoff that takes a little overlook point here, where again you can see the area where we came from, and some more of these mountains around us, including the ones we're headed into, right up there someplace. I think this was, at one time, there was a building here, a house or a cabin. There's some concrete foundations and things like that. Pretty sight. Well, we're about on our way up towards the top, and luckily enough, we don't have much farther to go. So let's go on up here and see. This is really the only fairly steep part of this whole trip. But it'll be a lot easier coming down. Well, we have made it. It's now leveling off some, and look what we have down over here. Got some horseback riders. How about that? Down here a little ways is what is known as Century Lake. It's actually a man-made lake. When this was the old ranch days, this property in this area, but it's quite small and pretty well grown up all around it. So I don't know, in this drought year, I don't know how much water is going to be in it, but we'll let it go this time. However, there is a point along the trail where you can look down and see a portion of the dam that creates Century Lake. And this trail continues on through some open areas and then back into some quite heavily brushed areas. But still, we've got the mountains around us. And then we approach a bridge over the creek. As a matter of fact, I can hear a little bit of water in the creek, so we'll have to go take a look. See how much it looks like. Well, not very much, but at least there's some. Take a look over the other side. Well, it's flattened out here a little bit, so we've got a little bit of a pond. But at least some water. And then across the bridge, the trail continues on, narrowed down a little bit, but it also tells us that we have 0.6 of a mile to go to the MASH site. And now we break out on a new road, which is coming in from this direction. And we're going to swing around, and this is the road that's going to get us on to the MASH site, not too far now. And as we come around a bend here, we look over, and what do we see? Not World War II, it's the Korean War, an old ambulance. Now, this is not one of the old ones used in the shooting of MASH, but has been added later. But it's a nice introduction to the area. And here's the old MASH film site. It's still got an old prop, an old ambulance still there. And they've since put up picnic tables, which weren't here the last time I was here. And they still have that old Jeep sitting there. We'll get a little closer. Well, there's a replica of the old direction sign that was in the original site for the filmings. And there's one of the ambulances that was used in those days. And then the new picnic area and the old Jeep. Oh, it's a little worse for wear than the last time I was here. And there's the path going up to where the helicopters landed. Well, here's the old site down below, laid out in front of us. And for a comparison, here's the same site as it looked in those filming days. The site hasn't changed much, but the stuff on the ground sure has. The old ambulance and the old Jeep and the newer Jeep out there. And then this backdrop that every time those helicopters came in at the opening of MASH, you'd see that up in the sky. It is not Korea, but it's a pretty sight. And then we can swing around here and take a look at the old helicopter landing site laid out in front of us. But then it was about time to turn around and head back. Going back the same way that we came. And going again through some pretty beautiful country. And we sure miss you, Dayle. You were a great friend and a great companion.